Ooh, well, hello. It's Dexter and me with the latest in our Advent calendar offerings. What's this day? A day a lot. It's a lot, and it's taking its toll. Anyway, for today's little Advent calendar offering, I figured I would prove just why During the Meanwhilest is a very, very small, unsuccessful YouTube channel. And that's mainly because I am a rubbish, or I would be a rubbish businessman. Most of my videos don't get many views, but some of them get far fewer views than others. And amongst my most least viewed videos on the channel are the ones where I talk about music. And so to prove my YouTube acumen, today's video is all about records in my music collection, and more precisely live albums. Now, music has played a massive part in my life. Going to see bands, listening to records, playing music in bands even. It's given me an awful lot of enjoyment and satisfaction through the years. Now, I really love live music. I love going to see a band live. When I hear different versions of the songs they've recorded in the studio. But when it comes to listening at home, I'm not a huge fan of live albums. If I'm sitting in the comfort of my armchair with my oh so expensive stereo system, rumbling away in the background, I want to hear the songs as the artist recorded them and intended them to be heard on their album, and not some live version. Nonetheless, though, I have bought some live albums throughout my life, and some bands' live albums are really quite iconic, and most of the ones I've got here are those icons, with a few exceptions that I wish I owned, and they are the Who's Live at Leeds. Wish I had that. Never owned that album. Wish I had. Cheap Trick Live at the Budokan. That's another really iconic album I wish I owned. The MC5's Kick Out the Jams. Love to have owned that record, and there are others as well. So if I've missed any out of your favourite band, then please forgive me. One record I thought I had in my collection but couldn't find was Whitesnake Live in the Heart of the City. I really liked that as a live album, but either I've loaned it out or given it away or done something with it, but I couldn't find it. So what I'm going to do now is go through the live albums that I do have, or my favourite live albums that I have in my collection. This isn't all of them, I got a couple of others. And I just have a brief chat about each one. Now, they're not ranked in any particular order, as you would imagine from somebody who suffers with OCD like me. I store my records in alphabetical order. So I'm going to go through them in that order. And the first one is, oh god, he bends down to get it, AC/DC's If You Want Blood. Now, I obviously, when I was in school, at the tender age of about 14 or 15, I knew all about AC/DC. But then I saw this album cover, I think it was in Woolworths probably one day, and I thought I have to have that. So I think I probably begged my dear old dad for the £3 or £4 this would have cost, and parted money with that. But look at that for a sleeve. Who wouldn't want to buy that? And then you've got really iconic live songs in here, probably with the most iconic being Whole Lot of Rosie. They're a live version of that. Fantastic live album. Right then. Second up is, this really is, when we talk about iconic live albums, Deep Purple, Made in Japan. It's a double live album, as most of the classic, iconic 70s and 80s live albums were. They were doubles. Again, on here, probably the most iconic recording of Smoke on the Water. recorded in Osaka on the 15th of August 1972, so over 50 years ago, and it still sounds fantastic today. Deep Purple, made in Japan. Next one up is... oh, this is probably my most controversial live album of my own. It's Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East, or some like to call it Unleashed in the Studio. There were rumours abound at the time that this album had been heavily re-recorded and remastered, and it was the case when I read Rob Halford's biography, Confess. He actually confirms that the 2 nights they recorded this show over in Japan, his voice was awful, so they went back into the studio and completely re-recorded the live album. The drums, bass, everything like that's still live, I think, but his vocals were re-recorded and overdubbed onto this. But all the same, it is still a killer live album, but not a double. Not a double. I think there are double ones available with some unreleased tracks on, but there we are. Right then, this next one is probably not this band's greatest live album, but it's certainly its most iconic, and that is Led Zeppelin. The Song Remains the Same. Again, a beautiful double gatefold album. You get a booklet with it, which I'm not going to take out now, and because it's in this like protective sleeve. But if you're talking iconic live tracks, you've got Stairway to Heaven on you, which is probably the most famous recording of Stairway to Heaven. Not their best live album. It's certainly better than Celebration Day, which was the modern version of Led Zeppelin with Jason Bonham on drums. But probably for a pure live music experience, How the West Was Won is probably a better album. But this is certainly the most iconic recording. Right then, what's next? Have I hit the CDs yet? No, I haven't. Next one up, again, another live album, probably famous, or more famous for one track over any other, and that's Lynyrd Skynyrd's One More from the Road. And of course, the track in question is Freebird. I mean, when you're talking like recordings of songs, the live version of Freebird is up there with Stairway to Heaven in terms of musical iconography. There we are. Lynyrd Skynyrd. Right then, next up is this is a real classic for 80s heavy metal fans. That's Motorhead, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. I saw these in 1981 in Port Vale's football ground in like an outdoor concert come festival type thing, and this was recorded a little bit later than that, I think. 82, 83 maybe. But I'm trying to look. Oh no, recorded in 81. There we are. So there may be some tracks from that show on you. Who knows? But Motorhead, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. This next one, I don't have on vinyl. I have it on CD. I know, don't shoot me. It's Pink Floyd, Pulse, with the iconic. Is it going to do it? The iconic pulsing. I just sort of show it. It's got quite dim now. I think the battery is wearing. It's on about his third replacement battery. That's a pulsing red LED in there. But this is a really nice double CD live recording with a lovely booklet full of photos and whatnot in it. Really nice. And then for some reason you get this bit of cardboard, which I think was they didn't make the book thick enough to fit in the sleeve, so they packed it out with this bit of cardboard. Strange days indeed. Right then, next up, let me just pop this one up. This one's separate, put it over there. Next up is I'm going to leave that until last. Actually, I'm going to leave that until last. This is my favourite. Next up is Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band live 1975 to 85. Now I used to have a vinyl issue of this, but I sold it, would you believe? when I started selling off loads of vinyl records back in the day, and I really regret that now. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan of live albums, but the ones I really do like are ones recorded like over one show, or a couple of nights of a tour. This one's recorded over 10 years, and in fact I'm going to grab another Bruce Springsteen one. Hang on a second, I'll be back. Where is it? Come on, where are you? There we are. The award-winning videography. Live from the Hammersmith Odeon. This is probably more of a authentic live album experience, and recorded over one night, I think, in 1975. Another really iconic live album. So, if you want the genuine early Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band experience, grab hold of a copy of this. Right, next up is it another? No, it's not a CD. It is. Oh, this is. When you talk about iconic double live albums, this is one of the most iconic, and it's kind of like their greatest hits, and it's Thin Lizzy, Live and Dangerous. Now, if you open up a dictionary and look up the words rock and roll, there's that picture. That is a rock god, Phil Lynott, God rest his soul, in action. But look at that. That is rock and roll, isn't it? And this album is again a double gatefold, and you've got hundreds of like live photographs in here. So I can count them actually. 9, 18, so that's 36, 25, over 50 live photographs in this album. Again, an absolute classic double live album. Next one is this should have come before Thin Lizzy. Sorry, it's the Ramones. It's Alive. 28 tracks in less than an hour. There we are. That's the Ramones for you. Absolutely top quality, top draw live music experience from one of the earliest punk bands. Next up is, now I used to have this on vinyl, no longer do. It's UFOs, Strangers in the Night. Again, a hugely iconic 1970s, early 1980s live double album. If you were a rock fan, you had to have this in your collection. Probably UFO's most famous song is Doctor Doctor, and the most iconic version, I think, of Doctor Doctor is the live one on this album. So it, joins songs like, Freebird and Stairway to Heaven in the iconography top live tracks anyway. Right, this next one, a bit of a, not off the wall, but it's Wishbone Ash, double live date. Again, similar to Thin Lizzy, twin lead guitar sort of attack, but probably they are most say iconic and famous album, but it's certainly up there. Wishbone Ash, live dates. Now, I did say most of these albums, or most of these sort of really iconic 1970s and 1980s live albums were double ones. But what if you were Yes? If you were Yes, you had to release a triple one. Now, I'm not going to take this out of its sleeve because it's got some glorious Roger Dean artwork in it. But this is a triple gatefold sleeve album. There's 3 vinyl records. You've got 6 sides of Yes. 6 sides of Yes live. Great stuff. Right then, save the best till last. Maybe not the best live album, but it's my favourite because it's by my favourite band, and there's a story behind it. It is Queen's Live Killers. Again, double gatefold with loads of live photographs in it, and the liners have got like concert notes of the songs that were played and why they were playing them and whatever. Yeah, so you've got all those there. But this is my favourite album for one reason, and it's been signed by the band. Now, I may have told this story in my live music experience video, but I went to see Queen in 1979 on I think it was the first night of the UK leg of their Crazy tour, where they played in like really small venues, like theatres and things up and down the country. But the first night was in a massive venue. It was in the then brand new NEC in Birmingham, and not the arena, just a hall, a bare tin shed basically, with about 13,000 people packed into it for the opening night of the Crazy tour. Anyway, I bought a program. Where's my program? I might have put that away. But also, I bought the concert program and a T-shirt, which had just long since disintegrated. And in that program, there's tucked away an advert for the Live Killers album, and it said that the first 100 people to visit HMV, which is a famous UK record shop up and down the country, first 100 people to visit the stores nationwide could have a chance to buy a signed copy of this. So I think it was the Saturday after the concert, either the Saturday or the Saturday after, this became available. So I was up at the crack of dawn. I got the first bus into Swansea and got into like the shopping centre there, and was outside the doors of HMV when it opened, and I was praying that nobody else had got wind of this, and that I would get the live album. And I did. I would, as soon as the doors opened, I rushed in and said, "Have you got the signed Queen Live Killers album?" And they went, "You what?" And I don't know what you're talking about. So I thought, I'm going to get ripped off here. One of the staff has had it. And then this bloke piped up at the back. He said, "Yeah, it came in yesterday. Here it is." And I bought it. Oh, it's signed John Deacon, Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor. Freddie's obviously greatly cherished signature, and I find myself rubbing it quite a lot. Well, all of them really. As live albums go, it's not the best, to be honest. It certainly isn't an iconic 70s or 80s double live album. There are no real kind of like standout tracks on it. But the standout thing for me is that signed front cover. Right, that is it for this latest, rather long story, advent calendar little video, and we'll see you on the next one tomorrow. Okay, so see you then. Ta-ra.